Welcome back to the Crypto Father channel. Today is the 25th of August. In today's video, I'll be speculatively talking about the potential future of TradeOgre because nobody really knows what's going to happen. We all have our assumptions and hopes and wishes and demands, obviously, but nobody really knows what's going to happen. So in today's video is going to be more of a instigation at conversation, so to speak, to see what you think, what your thoughts might be on where TradeOgre is going, where it should go, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you, and then hope that you can chime in the comment section later on and see where we can go with this conversation. Before I do though, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, of course, if you haven't done so yet, because that helps to spread the word. And since this seems to be the only channel in which TradeOgre is covered in any way, shape, or form, please do so, because there's a lot of people who are interested in hearing what's happening. A lot of people are involved in TradeOgre. A lot of funds are locked up in TradeOgre. So it would be nice to share this message with everybody who has been affected by this nuclear fallout. But before we do jump into TO, let's have a look at the markets, as we always do. The market cap is looking nice and juicy again. We're back above $4 trillion. $160 billion in trading volume, but Bitcoin has been dumping. Bitcoin is at $112,000, which means that Bitcoin dominance is dropping. It's at 55.8% right now, and Ethereum has gone up to 14.4%. A lot of the money has gone into Ethereum, but since the market cap is back above 4 trillion and Bitcoin price has dumped, is at 112 only, rather than, much higher as we expected, that means that a huge chunk of the market cap has gone into Ethereum and other altcoins. And so we've got BNB at 869, Solana at 200, Cardano at 91 cents, Litecoin $118, Toncoin below 3, DOT at $4, and then all the other stuff. Monero 276. Monero is making a recovery, 4.3% on the 24 hours. And quick look at the charts. On the daily, Bitcoin is wrestling with these resistance levels here, with these support levels here, rather, at 112,000 and 112,000 basically. It broke below this Fibonacci support. Actually, it's not a Fib support, it's all-time high support for Bitcoin, or one of them at $111,000. This is a more newer one. The trough, the tip of the iceberg here, and it broke below that. It didn't close another candle, so and it retraced back up above the fib at 0.382. so hopefully that'll hold there. There are some candles that were toying around with these levels, but Bitcoin should stay above that, hopefully. Again, everything's hopefully, like nothing's for sure, right? But so this is where Bitcoin is at right now. Ethereum right now is trying to break above the 75% discount zone, and the 2 Fibonacci support, or Fibonacci resistance rather, formed a massive god candle right here. And so right now this is where we are. Cardano's formed this candle. I'm not sure what this is. This is not looking great. This candle needs to be big and green and juicy, but Cardano has got a bit of a ways up to go, back to $1.17. Well, it's got to break above $1. So this is like right now it hit $1 here a couple of days ago, August 13th, and then retraced back down to 85 cents. So we need to see Cardano break above this $1 level, and then there's some resistance levels on the fib. So all of this needs to be busted through before Cardano moves back up. All right, so TradeOgre. Some of the examples I'm going to be using for this video will be from the bootleg website. So I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but there are some websites, tradeogre.us. These are most likely scam websites, so don't go running onto them to start registering or logging in, because that would be a huge mistake. You'd probably be just giving your logging information away. I'm using them as a demonstration, just to have something in the background while I talk about TradeOgre. TradeOgre is a bare bones exchange, right? You know that. And most of the coins that were listed on TradeOgre were small cap, unknown listings. The most recent one, which again I wasn't even aware of, was PLLD. And from one of the subscribers told me about PLLD was that TradeOgre was the very first exchange on which it was listed. It has now been listed on Poloniex, or is going to be listed on Poloniex. I think it is listed on Poloniex. But before Poloniex, it was listed on TradeOgre only. It has pumped since the listing on Poloniex, most likely, which is why it is now on the 4th place and is the 4th largest holding on TradeOgre. And so people who have invested into PLLD on TradeOgre obviously have made quite possibly nice sums of money, but clearly they can't access them. But this is what TradeOgre was, right? A lot of the coins are privacy focused, which is something that not many exchanges now can claim. Most centralized exchanges tend to shy away from privacy coins because they want to fit in the niche of, you know, government supervision and regulation. And so coins like Monero on Korean exchanges, for example, are unavailable, same as Litecoin after the introduction of Wimble Nimble. And TradeOgre was one of the very few exchanges that allowed people to trade Monero, Litecoin, things like Pirate Coin heavily. These coins are, sad as it is, not always accessible, not always available for trading on many centralized exchanges. So you've had privacy focused coins, microcap coins, and those are coins that major exchanges will not touch. It has a very old school interface. There is no frills, no gimmicks. It's a very simple interface. It's really focused on simplicity, accessibility, and the ability for people to trade tokens, coins that are not available on other exchanges. It also is non-KYC. It doesn't require a KYC. There is not even a mention of KYC. There is no frills, no thrills. There is no app. A lot of exchanges have apps, and there is none of that for TradeOgre. So that guarantees you ultimate anonymity. It's almost like a decentralized exchange. It has the feel of a decentralized exchange. It isn't, but it does have a feel of a decentralized exchange in that aspect. But with all of that, clearly come a lot of risks. The fact that there's no KYC means that they cannot be held accountable for anything that happens, right? There's limited transparency as to the support. We don't know who these people are, who's running the show. Up until recently, we didn't even have an incline as to where this place is located out of. Most people seem to have believed that it was somewhere in Russia. There was talk of Kamchatka. That's why there was the speculation of the earthquake that occurred just recently in Russia being the cause for the downside or the downtime on TradeOgre, which turned out to be completely off because now apparently it seems like TradeOgre has been around from the United States. We know that the trading activity and the volume of trading is pretty good, has been pretty good on TradeOgre. I would say that probably better than on any other KYC exchanges. And as far as it goes, like Zilliqa was a KYC exchange, non-KYC exchange that has been hacked. Non-KYC has been a great exchange, but the problem with non-KYC is that the volume tends to be pretty low on the exchange. It's not as widely used as some of the other ones, as TradeOgre has been for that matter. And from what I understand here, non-KYC has been around for 3 years. Only 2 years only. No, it's got to be longer than that. It's got to be about 3 years. I think I've been using it for longer than that. In any case, it's a pretty young exchange, and it does have all the blings and blanks that TradeOgre did, but for some reason it wasn't used as widely as TradeOgre has been. Maybe because TradeOgre has been around for longer than non-KYC. TradeOgre listed a lot of new coins. If you go to their X account, actually when you follow the Twitter link here, it doesn't take you to the Twitter webpage or Twitter page for TradeOgre. It takes you somewhere else. So that's odd. In any case, okay, so the most recent listing for TradeOgre on TradeOgre was XTM. TradeOgre may have been the very first exchange on which XTM has been listed. QORT, Quartal, R5, Algo, XLM Stellar has been listed April 3rd. That's odd. Stellar has been around for a long time. But in any case, there's Palladium, March 20th, listed on TradeOgre. So TradeOgre has had lots of very early listings for coins and tokens that are not being listed anywhere else. And so this is why TradeOgre was so popular, because of that. Because you could get access to tokens and coins that were not available anywhere else. And since people were quite eager to trade on TradeOgre, you know, the volume would pick up, and that would of course help the project to be listed on places like Poloniex, like in the case of Palladium. And the thing about TradeOgre, unlike major exchanges, updates are minimal, which fuels both trust. Like, there's no nonsense, there's no fluff, there's no goofy headlines and stuff like that. But also there's suspicion because it's difficult to communicate with the support team, whatever that means. It could be just one dude running the show. But so, you know, there are pluses and minuses. But this is what to expect from an exchange that is obviously kind of sitting in the dark, right? You can't have the good without tasting the evil, the bad. So the reason why TradeOgre is still being used, well, not at the present moment, despite the fact that there are still deposits being sent in Bitcoin into TradeOgre. The last one occurred 2 hours ago. Prior to that, 1 day ago. So there were 3 different deposits within the last 4 hours to TradeOgre. The volume or the amount locked up is still $27 million. But so the reason why people are still using it or have been using it for so long is because you get access to obscure coins on TradeOgre, coins that you don't usually get on any other places. You don't need to have a KYC done, so you don't need to share any of your details, and there are the trading fees are pretty low, and it's very easy to trade on TradeOgre. I mean, the interface for trading is super simple. It's very easy. Of course, see, this is what I mean. This is the Scammy website. It only has the front page here. You could probably go in and log in. You can definitely do that. It'll let you do that. There's no problem with that. It even has the name correctly here, TradeOgre. Somebody pointed out in the past that some of these, there are several of them, but some of them have the name spelled wrong. It's spelled TradeOgre. This one's spelled correctly, but as you can see, you can't access any other of the features, here, except for this one. So what's the potential of it coming back? Well, there's a lot of people who said that if it does come back, they wouldn't even be interested in keeping their stash on TradeOgre. And the thing is, 27 million is a lot of money to be kept on an exchange that is sitting in the dark. And so when you look at these exchanges, you have to ask yourself how much money you're willing to risk, because that's basically what you're looking at. Like, we're dealing with a perfect example. When you're talking about an exchange that has no KYC, that is kind of a, you know, pirate of the system, you have to be aware of the fact that it could go under at any day, and then the money that you have on it will disappear, or it will be frozen like it is in this case. So don't keep your stash on exchanges. Don't keep your stash on TradeOgre. Basically, don't keep more of your stash on TradeOgre than you're willing to risk, because chances are if something happens, then there is nobody to be held responsible for it. So will TradeOgre come back online, or will it stay offline? And you know, like, somebody made a comment on one of my videos: thank you for your donation to the Bitcoin reserve, strategic reserve. That could be quite possibly what happened. But even if TradeOgre comes online, the feeling is that a lot of people would take the money out and run and never look back. Now, I wonder if that's true, and I'm sure that a lot of people would do that, and maybe for a time being, but eventually, over time, people would come back, would return. There would be mistrust, and people would draw their money. But given TradeOgre's legacy and continuous operations, people will eventually return, and money would flow back into TradeOgre as it has in the past. So that's what I see. There will be some people who will take out money and never look back, but then there will be some who will take some money out, or take all of it out, and observe TradeOgre for the next little while to see what's going to happen. And there will be some people who will just leave it as it is. That is provided that TradeOgre will come back online, which may or may not happen, because now, since oversight has been thrown over TradeOgre and the eyes of the law are upon it, chances are that we may not see TradeOgre. If it does come back, it may not come back the way it has been known to be. Anonymous, permitting access to newly listed coins, microcaps. We may see TradeOgre come back in a very new, revamped version where KYC is required, because it may be a requirement imposed by the gov for TradeOgre to continue its existence. They might say if you don't implement KYC, you will not be allowed to legally operate your business and therefore disappear. They'll be forced to shut down. So TradeOgre is either the little engine that could, or it's a ticking time bomb. And as you know, using platforms like TradeOgre, you have to do it at your own risk. You shouldn't invest more than you're willing to lose because of things like this happening. So one thing to keep in mind, TradeOgre is not your average exchange. Its story is still kind of unfolding. It is a relatively new exchange. When you look at the overall crypto industry, where will it go? We don't know. There's a bunch of other exchanges that have gone under. Rapix, as from somebody else commented on my video, was another exchange that went under. So it could possibly be that TradeOgre may face a similar destiny as so many other non-KYC exchanges have. And so my question is, if you've used TradeOgre, if you have any experience with TradeOgre, let me know what your experience has been in the comments below this video. Do you think it's here to stay? Do you think it's going to come back? What are your thoughts? Share some thoughts with us. Let us know. Let me know what you think. And of course, once again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. If you are keen in the mood, consider becoming a member on the channel. That's also one way of supporting the channel. There's a bunch of perks and badges and all that stuff that come with becoming a member on the channel. Don't forget to pick up a copy of Crypto and Millennials. September is soon fast approaching and the book will be available for pickup September 1st. It's available now for pre-order. It's a great book full of information on crypto, 188 pages of brilliant wisdom that will help you live through the bear market and through a lot of other stuff and help you understand a lot more about crypto than you may know up until this point. Also, don't forget to pick up a Descent wallet. Right now, you still can get these things. Will keep your crypto safe off exchanges. $30 discount on the purchase of one, $99 discount on purchase of two of them. So get these puppies in your pocket, store your crypto on a hardware wallet, and you'll be safer rather than sorry. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm looking forward to reading all your messages and texts and comments. I always try to answer all of them as much as possible. I make the effort of answering every single comment that I get. So please do your comments. Sharing is caring and all that good stuff. And I hope to talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. Have a fantastic Monday. Back to the week. Man, weekends go by so fast. Peace.